Number 10. The Stanley Hotel. The Stanley Hotel is known for its purported haunted history and paranormal activity, as well as being the inspiration for Stephen King's novel The Shining. Some of the reported paranormal experiences at the Stanley Hotel include ghostly apparitions. Guests and staff have reported seeing ghostly figures and apparitions throughout the hotel, including a phantom housekeeper who still tends to room 217. Visitors have reported hearing unexplained sounds such as people giggling, ghostly laughter, and footsteps in the halls when no one else is around. Guests have reported objects moving on their own, including doors opening and closing, lights turning on and off, and the sound of furniture being moved. Some visitors have reported feeling sudden drops in temperature or being in a particular area of the hotel that is unusually cold, even though the thermostat shows a normal temperature. Some guests have reported smelling unexplained scents, such as the smell of cigar smoke or perfume, when there is no logical source for the odor. Some guests have reported experiencing flickering lights, electrical disturbances, and equipment malfunctions that cannot be explained by natural causes. While some people claim to have had paranormal experiences at the Stanley Hotel, others have reported having a peaceful and uneventful stay. It's up to each individual to decide whether they believe in the hotel's haunted history or not. Number 9. Eastern State Penitentiary. Eastern State Penitentiary is a former prison in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania that is now a museum. Over the years, visitors and staff have reported experiencing paranormal activity within the walls. Some of the reported experiences at Eastern State Penitentiary include some visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures moving along the walls and corridors of the prison. Many people have reported hearing unexplained sounds and voices, including footsteps, whispers, and screams. Visitors have also reported sudden drops in temperature in certain areas of the prison, even when it is not particularly cold outside. Some visitors have reported seeing cell doors open and close on their own. Visitors have reported experiencing strange smells that they cannot identify, such as the smell of burning, sulfur, or rotting flesh. Some visitors have reported feeling like they are being touched or pushed by an unseen force, or feeling a sense of unease or foreboding. It's worth noting that some people who have visited Eastern State Penitentiary have not experienced anything paranormal or unusual. However, others believe that the prison's violent history and the suffering of its inmates may have had a lingering effect that can still be felt today. Number 8. The Myrtles Plantation. Myrtles is a historic plantation located in St. Francisville, Louisiana, that is said to be one of America's most haunted houses. Visitors to the plantation have reported a variety of eerie experiences that seem to suggest the presence of ghostly activity. Many people have reported hearing the sound of footsteps walking across the floors of the plantation, even when there is no one else around. Some people reported seeing objects move on their own, including doors that open and close by themselves and chairs that seem to slide across the floor. Several ghostly apparitions have been reported at the Myrtles Plantation, including the ghost of a former owner who has been seen wandering the grounds. Visitors have reported experiencing strange smells that seem to come out of nowhere, like perfume and cigar smoke. Some people have reported hearing the sound of music coming from the empty piano in the plantation's main room. Number 7. The Queen Mary. The Queen Mary is a retired ocean liner that is now a hotel and museum in Long Beach, California. The ship has a long and storied history, including serving as a troop ship during WW II, and many people believe that it is also home to several ghosts and other supernatural phenomena. Many people have heard ghostly singing of a young woman in the first-class pool area of the ship. Visitors to the Queen Mary's engine room have reported seeing ghostly apparitions of the crew members who once worked there, including one man who appears to be covered in oil. Several guests have reported seeing the ghostly apparitions of that man and a woman in 1930s clothing, walking arm in arm down the ship's promenade deck. Many people have reported seeing orbs and light floating around the ship, especially in the areas where paranormal activity is said to be the most prevalent. Some guests have reported a feeling of a ghostly tug on their clothing or hair, as if someone is trying to get their attention. While some people remain skeptical about the reported paranormal activity on the Queen Mary, many others believe that the ship is a hotbed of supernatural phenomena, and it continues to attract ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts from around the world. Number 6. The Winchester Mystery House. The Winchester Mystery House is a sprawling mansion located in San Jose, California that was built by the widow of William Wirt Winchester, the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune. Over the years, visitors to the mansion have reported a variety of strange and unexplained experiences. One of the most unique features of the Winchester Mystery House is its seemingly endless construction. The mansion contains countless winding hallways, secret passages, and rooms that seem to serve no purpose, leading some visitors to speculate that the construction was designed to confuse or confound any spirits that might be haunting the property. Some visitors have reported seeing doors that open to reveal nothing but a sheer drop or a solid wall, leading some to speculate that they were designed to trap any ghosts or spirits that might be lurking. Many people have reported hearing strange noises in the mansion, including footsteps, voices, and banging sounds. Number 5. The Bell Witch Cave. Bell Witch Cave is a natural cave located in Adams, Tennessee, that is famous for its association with the Bell Witch, a legendary spirit that is said to have haunted the Bell family in the early 19th century. Visitors to the cave and surrounding area have reported a variety of strange experiences. Many visitors to the Bell Witch Cave have reported hearing disembodied voices and whispers in the darkness. Some visitors have reported feeling a strange energy or presence in the cave, as if someone or something is watching them. Some people have reported feeling an unseen force touching them or brushing past them in the cave. Visitors have reported seeing objects move on their own in the cave, including rocks and other debris. The Bell Witch is said to haunt not just the cave, but also the surrounding area, with some visitors reporting strange occurrences such as unexplained lights and sightings of ghostly apparitions. While some people remain skeptical of the legend of the Bell Witch, others believe that the experiences reported by visitors to the Bell Witch Cave are evidence of supernatural activity, and the cave continues to attract ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts from around the world. Number 4. The Lizzie Borden House in Fall River, Massachusetts. The Lizzie Borden House is a historic bed and breakfast that was once the site of a gruesome double execution. Andrew and Abby Borden, Lizzie's father and stepmother, were brutally ended with a hatchet in the house in 1892. Visitors to the Lizzie Borden House have reported a variety of strange and unexplained experiences. Some visitors have reported feeling as though they are being watched by an unseen presence, particularly in the upstairs bedrooms where the executions took place. Several apparitions have been spotted at the Lizzie Borden house, including the apparition of a woman in Victorian clothing and the apparition of a man with a mustache. Many people have reported hearing strange noises in the house, including footsteps, knocking sounds, and the sound of doors opening and closing. Some people have felt a cold, clammy hand on their shoulder or a brush of hair against their cheek. Number 3. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Once known as the Weston State Hospital, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum stands tall as a grim reminder of the past. It was built in the mid-1800s to house patients with mental illness, but over time it became known for its overcrowding, understaffing, and the cruel treatments administered to patients. As the years passed, the asylum's conditions deteriorated and it became a place of horror and despair. Patients were subjected to inhumane treatments such as electroshock therapy, lobotomies, and hydrotherapy, which involved forcibly submerging patients in ice-cold water. The overcrowded and understaffed conditions led to many patients being neglected, left to suffer in filth and squalor. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was a place of immense suffering, and it's no surprise that it has become one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors to the asylum have reported a variety of strange experiences, including unexplained noises, ghostly apparitions, and the feeling of being watched by unseen entities. Some of the most famous ghosts said to haunt the asylum include the spirit of a young woman named Lily, who is said to have passed away in the asylum after being admitted for her moral character, and the spirit of a former patient named Ruth, who is said to have been chained to a wall and left to pass away. Despite its dark past, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is now open to the public, and visitors can take guided tours of the asylum's abandoned wards and learn about its history. But be warned, many visitors report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread and unease as they explore the asylum, and some say they have encountered the spirits of former patients still trapped within its walls. Number 2. The Whaley House. The Whaley House in San Diego, California is an architectural marvel, but it also has a dark history. The home was built in 1857 by Thomas Whaley, a successful businessman, and his wife Anna. The house was built on the site of a former gallows where criminals were hanged in the early days of San Diego. Over the years, the Whaley family experienced a series of tragedies that left them haunted by the ghosts of their past. One of the most tragic events occurred in 1871, when the Whaleys' son, Thomas Jr., passed away. The family also suffered financial setbacks, and their son-in-law took their own life in the house. Today, the Whaley House is said to be one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors have reported hearing strange noises and feeling the presence of unseen entities. Many believe that the ghosts of the Whaleys and those who are executed on the gallows still linger within the house. Number 1. The Villisca Axe House. The Villisca Axe House in Iowa has a history that is shrouded in mystery and tragedy. Built in 1892, the house was once a place of happiness and joy for the Moore family, who are well-respected members of the community. But something happened within its walls that forever changed the fate of the house. Over the years, the house has become known for its paranormal activity, with many visitors reporting strange experiences and ghostly apparitions. Some say that they have seen spirits of people playing in the house, while others have heard unexplained noises and felt an eerie presence within its walls. Despite its dark past, the Villisca Axe House has been restored to its former glory and is now open to the public for tours. Visitors can explore the beautiful Victorian home and learn about its history, from the happy times of the Moore family to the tragic events that occurred within its walls. While the house may be haunted by the memories of the past, it is also a place of beauty and wonder, a testament to the rich history of Villisca and the families who once called the house their home. It's a place where visitors can step back in time and experience the joys and sorrows of a bygone era, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the power of hope in the face of tragedy. Number 10. Organs. A study done by George Mason University in 2019 revealed that you can actually purchase organs on the dark web. Here's what the research paper stated. Due to the scarcity of transplantable organs, patients must typically wait on long lists for many years to get a matching kidney. This scarcity has created an illicit marketplace for wealthy recipients to avoid long waiting times. Brokers arrange such organ transplants and collect most of the payment that is sometimes channeled to fund other illicit activities. In order to collect and disperse payments, they often resort to money laundering-like schemes of money transfers. As the low-cost internet arrives in some of the affected countries, social media and the dark web are used to illegally trade human organs. This paper presents a model to assess the risk of human organ trafficking in specific areas and shows methods and tools to discover digital traces of organ trafficking using publicly available tools. Number 9. Social security numbers. After your social security number is plastered on the dark web, opening new accounts in your name isn't the only thing you have to worry about. Fraudsters can use your social security number and other personal information they find on the dark web to impersonate you and to gain access to your credit cards. Once someone gains access to your credit card, they can begin piling on the charges. If you're not closely monitoring your credit card activity, the charges can quickly get out of hand. Many companies offer credit monitoring plans that help combat credit card hacking. For example, AAA offers Protect My ID, a complimentary credit monitoring service for all AAA members. Signing up for a credit monitoring service can help you keep your identity safe, while giving you peace of mind. Another way to monitor your credit cards is to sign up for alerts. Most creditors will send you an alert when a purchase has been made or a payment is due. These notifications can help you keep track of your credit card transactions at all times. And plus, I think some of them send you notifications for fraudulent stuff. Number 8. Credit cards. A dark web carding market named Biden Cash has released a massive dump of 1,221,551 credit cards to promote their marketplace, allowing anyone to download them for free to conduct financial fraud. Carding is the trafficking and use of credit cards stolen through point-of-sale malware, mage card attacks on websites, or information-stealing malware. Biden Cash is a stolen cards marketplace launched in June 2022, leaking a few thousand cards as a promotional move. Now, the market's operators decided to promote the site with a much more massive dump in the same fashion that the similar platform All World Cards did in August 2021. The threat actors announced the credit card dump on new URLs Biden Cash launched late last month in response to DDoS attacks, so it could be a way to promote the new shop domains. Number 7. 3D printed objects? That 3D printing could be used for a crime was already on many people's minds years ago. Law enforcement agencies have been learning about 3D printing for the past few decades in order to discover how it can be used for crime. Whereas the popular media has focused on 3D printing guns, actual criminality with 3D printing is being done in a different way. 3D printing guns are a bit of a self-invented, self-fulfilling prophecy by the media, whereby enough attention will result in money and supporters being directed to increase the effort of 3D printing guns. 3D printing guns will only be an actual thing to worry about if the media has generated enough interest in it for it to be developed further. Even then, there are plenty of other tools with which one could manufacture guns. On the other hand, 3D printing is being used worldwide by criminals to aid in their crimes. The way through which this is being done is to hide things. Number 6. Netflix accounts. For as cheap as $1. There is no such thing as free Netflix accounts, unless you're using a stolen one. The darknet is host to numerous illegal activities, and a good chunk of it consists of selling hacked or compromised streaming accounts. Fortunately, securing the Netflix account so you don't unwittingly share it with someone is a straightforward process. The so-called passwordless revolution is here, with biometric authentication hailed as a hero. However, we're a long way from such a drastic change, and passwords will remain a constant in our lives for years. The same passwords are a bane to cybersecurity because of human nature. The passwords people most commonly use to secure their online account remain pretty much the same year after year. The infamous password top 10 list doesn't seem to change significantly, which tells us that people continue using weak, common, or easily guessable credentials. Number 5. Stolen goods. Online stolen goods are numerous, and are mainly goods that are easy to steal and sell. Such items include a mix of everyday consumer goods such as razors, deodorants, and denim pants. Organized crime groups are now involved in retail theft. They are driven by the ability to easily and almost anonymously sell the stolen goods online. Online platforms give criminals access to shoppers they would not otherwise reach, and allow them to sell the stolen merchandise directly. Criminals can offer a stolen iPhone, for example, on eBay. Here they can bid and move it more quickly. Another common way to sell stolen goods online is called e-fencing. A fence is the one who buys stolen goods on purpose to resell later. In fact, marketplaces like eBay make fencing highly accessible. Also, dedicated websites offer customers to change stolen items to cash. Websites such as cash4gold.com make it easy for criminals to sell stolen jewelry. Criminals can steal jewelry they know is accepted by the website, easily sell it on the website, and get cash. Reselling stolen items is also carried out through auction sales sites and social media. Number 4. Silk Road. Silk Road was an online black market and the first modern darknet market. It was launched in 2011 by its American founder Ross Ulbricht under the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts. As part of the dark web, Silk Road operated as a hidden service on the Tor network, allowing users to buy and sell products and services between each other anonymously. All transactions were conducted with Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency which aided in protecting user identities. The website was known for its illegal substance marketplace, among other illegal and legal product listing. In October 2013, the Federal Bureau of Investigation shut down Silk Road and arrested Ulbricht. Silk Road 2.0 came online a couple months ago, run by former site administrators, but was shut down the following year as part of Operation Onimus. In 2015, Ulbricht was convicted in federal court for multiple charges relating to operating Silk Road and was given 2 life sentences without possibility of parole. Number 3. Uranium. On a well-hidden corner of the internet, a user going by the name of FRIM has a question. Ever wanted to start your own reactor or build nukes? Well, this is probably the only missing component you needed and couldn't get until now. The missing component FRIM promises is a small quantity of uranium ore. On sale for 0.2549 bitcoins or a large sum of money. FRIM is selling uranium on Evolution, which is currently the largest of the so-called darknet marketplaces on the internet, where enterprising vendors offer everything from substances to weapons to stolen credit card numbers. The markets tend to have a short shelf life, and the first and most well-known, Silk Road, was shut down by the FBI. Its successor, Silk Road 2.0, was seized a couple months ago. FRIM knows this. Who knows how long Evolution will last? He/she asks at the end of the uranium listing. That's why you need to order lots of uranium now so you don't miss out on your dreams to threaten the UN with nukes in your lifetime. Winky face. That's a bit grim, FRIM. Number 2. Fake degrees. The market for fake diplomas is a booming one. 6Gill has identified multiple vendors selling degrees and accreditation that seemingly looks legitimate. One selling a fake London Metropolitan University diploma proudly boasts about the quality of the paper and the embossed seal, and how it's the identical size to the original. The vendor states that it is perfect to be used at places where they just do cursory inspection, where they just look at the seal and appearance of the degree itself without doing any cursory checks. Perhaps what is most striking is the diversity of fake degrees available. While there are some from prestigious institutions like Oxford University, Cambridge University, and Harvard, the majority are from ordinary schools, like Liverpool John Moores University, Middlesex University, and the University of Northern Iowa. Number 1. Uber accounts. At least 2 vendors on the dark web marketplace named Alpha Bay are allegedly selling Uber accounts. The accounts are said to let buyers order trips using whatever payment method attached to the accounts, while also providing them with the full trip history, email addresses, phone numbers, and even location information of people's home and work address stored on the accounts. The price for such an account is said to be as low as $1, but it could get to $5, a price that won't even get you around the block with a taxi. One of the sellers is said to have sold over 100 accounts to other buyers, but a lot more accounts are estimated to have been sold by now. We investigated and found no evidence of a breach, an Uber spokesperson told The Verge. Attempting to fraudulently access or sell accounts is illegal, and we notified the authorities about this report. This is a good opportunity to remind people to use strong and unique usernames and passwords, and to avoid reusing the same credentials across multiple sites and services. The method used to acquire the accounts is not clear yet, but this comes after Uber disclosed the information about 50,000 of its drivers had been accessed by a third party in May. The latter might indicate that a security breach might have been found in the company system and exploited to get access to the user's account credentials.
Coming in at our number 10 spot, we have the Goddess of Death statue. The ancient limestone statue known as the Woman from Lem, or more infamously known as the Goddess of Death, has been the subject of much speculation and superstition since its discovery in Cyprus in 1878. Dating back all the way to 3500 BC, the true purpose of the statue is shrouded in complete mystery, but it is believed to have been used as either a fertility symbol or a representation of a long-forgotten goddess. Despite its small and unassuming appearance, the statue has been linked to a series of tragic events that have befallen each of its owners throughout the years. The first recorded owner of the statue was Lord Alphonse, who lost all 7 of his family members within 6 years of acquiring this piece. The curse continued with Ivor Medici, the statue's second owner, whose entire family died within 4 years of obtaining it. Lord Thompson Noel suffered a very similar fate, losing his entire family within 4 years of possessing the statue. The final owner, Sir Alan Biverbrook, and his family also met an untimely death after acquiring the statue. In an effort to break the curse, Biverbrook's 2 surviving sons decided to donate the statue to the Royal Scottish Museum in Edinburgh. However, even the museum curator who handled the statue met an untimely end within a year of its acquisition. Today, the statue remains safely well behind a glass at the museum. At our number 9 spot, we have the Dark Mirror. The Dark Mirror is a very creepy mirror that has gained notoriety due to its disturbing vision it allegedly brings to those who gaze into it. It was obtained by the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and the Occult from a woman whose mother had purchased it at a psychic expo. The mirror appears to use the energy of the gazer and show them their deepest fears and nightmares, including visions of their own corpse. The mirror is best used in psychomantium, which is a setup in an enclosed area with only darkness used to communicate with spirits. Visitors to the museum have reported seeing themselves age, wink, smile, and even disappear during these sessions. The dark mirror has caused headaches, feelings of dread, and an intense electrical energy in some people as well. The previous owner of the mirror became withdrawn after trying to perfect her divination skills using the mirror, and eventually kept it in a closet, saying that it was evil. Despite the negative experiences associated with the mirror, some people have been brave enough to try it for themselves, with some reporting only seeing their reflection, while others see something else completely. The mirror still remains a mystery, and its true powers and purpose remain unknown. At number 8 spot, we have the Bassano vase. This vase is a pretty little thing and pretty old too. Cast from silver in the 15th century and produced in a very simple design, it is one of the most mysterious and elusive haunted objects in the world. Originally, the vase was a wedding present for an Italian bride who lived in a small village in Napoli. On the woman's wedding night, she was found slowly passing away on the floor. Her hands were wrapped tightly around the silver vase, and in her dying breaths, the bride vowed to have her revenge and then passed away. Ever since, every owner of the vase has passed away tragically and in very mysterious ways. It was hidden away until it got auctioned, and upon looking inside of the vase, there was a note inside saying, quote, "Beware, this vase brings death." It was then sold 3 different times in different auctions, but every single owner would pass away. Eventually, it was buried, and now no one knows where it's located, and that's probably for the better. Others believe it was taken in by a museum, but after a number of mysterious deaths from staff members, they decided to hide it from the public's eyes. Coming in at our number 7 spot, we have the Baker's wedding dress. This dress belonged to Anna Baker, who was a part of a wealthy family located in Altoona, Pennsylvania. They would reside in what is known as the Baker Mansion in 1849, the same year Anna fell in love with a man and planned to get married. But her father Elias was like, no, that's not happening. It's believed he said no because he was a part of a different social class. He didn't want the marriage to happen so bad, he even got the man banished from the town. Anna was heartbroken as a result and just begged her dad, but her dad just kept telling her no. She then went on her way to buy her own dress, which is the one in this picture, and showed her father, and he was still very adamant on his decision. So in spite of her father, she never married even after death. Fast forward to 1922, all the members of the Baker family passed away, and the mansion had been bought by the Blair County Historical Society and then turned into a museum. In the museum, guests report seeing the glass of the dress being shaken violently, and others report seeing a woman apparition in a black dress staring into this display, and perhaps it's Anna from the grave. But I guess we'll never know. At number 6 spot, we have the Dybbuk box. In June last year, Post Malone visited the Haunted Museum in downtown Las Vegas with Zach Bagans, host of the TV show Ghost Adventures. Bagans took Malone into the most notorious room in the museum, which held the Dybbuk box, widely considered the world's most haunted object. The cabinet is haunted by a Dybbuk, which is a malicious spirit, and was first put up on sale on eBay in 2012. According to the seller's description, it was purchased from a Holocaust survivor's granddaughter who brought it in Spain after escaping the occupied Poland at the time. Manis, the buyer, found a series of strange items inside, including 2 pennies, locks of hair, a small statue engraved with the Hebrew word shalom, a golden wine goblet, a dried rosebud, and a single candle holder with octopus-shaped legs. The box passed through a few hands before the last owner consulted with rabbis on how to seal it for good. Then Post Malone was with Bagans when he decided to touch the box for the very first time, and Malone grabbed Bagans' shoulder while he was doing so. The curse was apparently transferred to Post Malone, and he experienced a series of unfortunate events. His private plane was forced to make an emergency landing after its tires blew out. 3 armed robbers targeted a home in San Fernando Valley that they believed to be his, and his Rolls Royce was involved in a serious car accident. The Dybbuk box has a long history of strange occurrences surrounding it, with previous owners experiencing horrific nightmares, strokes, and physical ailments. In the hump of our list, we have the Ring of Sylvanus. This is a cursed ring that was first owned by a Roman man named Sylvanus. This was a rather large ring with a diameter of 1 inch, so it was believed she wore this on her thumb or even over her glove. But one day, his ring was stolen from him. He believed it was taken from a man named Syneconus, and Sylvanus then proceeded to place a curse on the guy by heading up to a temple and creating a lead plate naming it the Cursed Tablet. On this tablet, he wrote, quote, "For the god Nodin, Sylvanus has lost a ring and donated 1/2 of its worth to the Nodins. Among those named Syneconus, permit no good health until it is returned to the temple of the Nodins." It is believed whoever owns the ring will fall ill, get into accidents, or have things happen to them which will lead them to everlasting suffering. And fun fact, this is the same ring that inspired Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, so it kind of makes sense. In 1785, it was found on a random farm, but now it is placed in good hands in a museum that is not known, which is probably for the better since no one will be ever to place this curse on their finger ever again. At a number 4 spot, we have the Busby stoop chair. In 1702, Thomas Busby was convicted of murdering his own stepfather. Story goes that on his way to his execution, he requested one final thing. This request would be simply to have one last drink in his favorite pub. Nothing harmful, right? So the judge decided to let him do it. After permission was granted, he decided to have a beer in his favorite chair at the bar. Here is where it gets kind of worse. After finishing his drink, he said aloud, quote, "May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit in my chair." He was then escorted to his execution, and his body would be displayed right outside of the inn for all to see. Over the years, death struck many who sat in the chair, leading the landlord to donate it to the Thirst Museum in England. Locals claim that during the Second World War, Canadian airmen from the nearby base at Skipton-on-Swale went to the pub, and those who sat in this chair never returned home from their bombing missions over mainland Europe. To avoid anyone sitting on it, they suspended it 5 feet in the air to stop any future tragedy. Regardless, this chair looks super uncomfortable, so I wouldn't even know if I want to sit on it, cursed or not. At a number 3 spot, we have the Okiku doll. Let me start this off by saying that this haunted doll is worse than Chucky. The story starts in 1918 Japan. Older brother Aikichi Suzuki bought a doll for his 2-year-old daughter Okiku. The doll had a black bob cut and a traditional kimono. His sister loved the doll so much that she even named it after her own name. These two would become so attached like no other. But in the following year, Okiku became gravely ill and ended up passing away. To commemorate her, her family put her favorite doll on her memorial shrine. Everything seemed fine until after a few days they would begin to notice something very strange. The doll's hair seemed to be actively growing, and every time it was cut, it would just keep on growing until it just reached just above her knees, which actually happened to be the place where the human Okiku's hair stopped. Eventually her family would move away but choose to keep the doll in the same place, thinking that Okiku would have wanted that. Now it resides in the Menenji temple, where it's said that monks will cut the hair regularly as it keeps on growing. At number 2 spot, we have Annabelle. I know you heard this one, but it's too good of a cursed object to leave out of this list. For all who don't know, the doll's name Annabelle comes from the alleged spirit who possesses it. In the early 1970s, a young college student named Donna gave the doll to Ed and Lorraine Warren, a now famous pair of paranormal investigators. Originally, Donna received the doll as a gift from her mother, who purchased it in an antique shop. Over time, Donna and her roommate noticed that the doll had a tendency to move, be it from locations throughout the apartment or positions upright, legs crossed, etc. After more paranormal activity, the girls contacted the Warrens, who decided the doll contained a demon straight from hell. When an exorcism failed to do the trick, the Warrens agreed to move the doll to a secure location inside of a glass box at their museum in Connecticut. Unfortunately, their museum has been since closed down and only a small select few can still visit. So best believe this museum is locking away all these evil objects contained in the building now, and probably for very good reason. Coming in at our number 1 spot, we have the Terracotta Army. This is a one-of-a-kind 2200-year-old funerary art. The Terracotta Army is considered the most priceless archaeological discovery of modern times. However, for those 7 farmers who discovered it back in 1974, the warriors have been proved more of a curse than a blessing. Soon after the discovery, their farmlands were claimed by the government and their homes were demolished to make way for exhibition halls and various gift shops. Upon the 7, one took their own life while the other ones passed away tragically, since they couldn't afford healthcare. Some have blamed the government for their passing, while others believe this is a similar curse to Tut's tomb. But what do you guys think? Coming in at our number 10 spot, we have Radiation Man. This is a story of a man who was kept alive for 83 days just so doctors could see the effects of radiation and how long a human could last. In 1999, 3 technicians at a nuclear power plant in Japan were involved in a catastrophic accident that left one of them, Hisashi Uchi, with the highest dose of radiation any human has ever experienced. Uchi, along with Masato Shinohara and Yutaka Yakokoa, were working at a plant when a nuclear reaction occurred, emitting neutron radiation and gamma rays all over the place. As a result, Uchi received a devastating 17 sieverts of radiation, while Shinohara and Yokokawa received fatal doses of 10 and 3 sieverts respectively. The effects of radiation on Uchi were immediate and severe, causing burns and completely damaging his internal organs and immune system. Despite being treated by a team of top medical professionals from around the world, Uchi's condition continued to deteriorate. He underwent numerous skin transplants and was kept alive through the use of blood and fluids, including drugs and life support. Tragically, on the 59th day of treatment, Uchi's heart stopped 3 times in just 49 minutes, causing severe damage to his brain and his kidneys. He eventually passed away on December 21st, 1999 due to multi-organ failure, spending the final 83 days of his life in intense pain and suffering. At our number 9 spot, we have the Unit 731. Yup, this story is terrible. Unit 731 was a Japanese biological warfare research unit that operated in China during World War II. It was headquartered in a facility in the Pingfan district, located in China, and they conducted experiments on human subjects in order to test the effectiveness on biological weapons and even study the effects of various diseases. The unit was established in 1936 and operated until the end of the war in 1945. It was led by Shiro Ishii, a Japanese army doctor, and was composed of several hundred scientists and medical professionals. The unit conducted a wide range of experiments on human subjects, including prisoners of war and civilians, often without their consent or even their knowledge. Some of the experiments conducted by Unit 731 included infecting subjects with diseases such as the bubonic plague, cholera, and typhoid fever. They would also study the effects of frostbite by deliberately exposing subjects to extreme cold and performing surgeries on live subjects without any sort of anesthesia. As a result, many of the subjects died in these experiments, and the unit is believed to have killed thousands of people during its operation. After the war, many of the members of Unit 731 were granted immunity from prosecution in an exchange for sharing the data they had collected with the United States. This decision has been heavily criticized, obviously, as it allowed the perpetrators of these atrocities to evade accountability for their actions. However, in more recent years, the Chinese government did call for Japan to take responsibility for this Unit 731 and to provide compensation to the victims and their families. The Chinese government was also called for the unit's activities to be recognized as war crimes and for the perpetrators to be held accountable once and for all. At a number 8 spot, we have the elevator man. Apparently some time ago, in a towering skyscraper located in Korea, there was a young woman named Karuko. She was a very bright 19-year-old student who lived in the 14th floor of her building, but on one fateful night, she had an experience in an elevator that would change her life. As the elevators began to close, a handsome stranger managed to slip his hand in order to stop them. The man stepped inside of the elevator and stood very close to Karuko. This is when the two began to flirt and engage in very small talk. The stranger told her he lived on the 13th floor, just one floor below her. As the elevator approached the 13th floor and the man walked out, the man suddenly turned around, turned to Karuko and said, "I'll see you upstairs." He then pulled out a knife as he left, he laughed and then disappeared towards the staircase. The doors of the elevator then shut, leaving Karuko alone and afraid. As the elevator continued to climb to the 14th floor, Karuko frantically pressed every button trying to get it to stop. But it was all in vain. The elevator doors finally opened up on the 14th floor, and to Karuko's terror, she found the man waiting for her. She was tragically slain before she could even scream for help, and since then, many have claimed this is a true story, and it's said to be the explanation why elevators now have this stop button. Some even say that the man who killed Karuko still roams the halls of this building, trying to lure innocent people into the elevator with him. And also, there is a game I mentioned in a lot of my past videos which include this story, and this is basically the origin story to that. So if you ever want to know more, just search up the elevator game online and you can even play this yourself. At a number 7 spot, we have the P-40 Ghost plane. In 1942, American radar detected a strange aircraft approaching their territory from Japan. Although it appeared to be an airplane, it did not have the typical markings of an aerial attack. The American military dispatched 2 pilots to intercept the mysterious plane. As they approached it, they discovered that the aircraft was a P-40, and they were surprised to find that it bore markings that had not been used since the Pearl Harbor attack. Additionally, they observed that the plane was in very poor condition, with bullet holes riddling the fuselage and the landing gear completely blown away. The pilots were amazed that the plane was even able to fly in the first place. However, they were shocked to find the pilot slumped in the cockpit, wearing a flight suit stained with fresh blood. When the pilots looked through the window, the pilot raised his hand slightly and turned toward them, offering a meek wave. Shortly thereafter, the plane crashed to the ground with a deafening roar. American troops arrived at the crash site but found no evidence of the pilot or any identifying markings from the plane. Researchers later found a diary at the crash site that helped them to determine that the plane must have come from Mindanao, which was an island 1,000 miles away. The rest of the story still remains a complete mystery. Some have speculated that the plane may have been downed over a year earlier and the pilot managed to survive on his own in the wild. He could have scavenged parts from other downed aircraft, repaired his airplane, and then navigated his way back to the homeland through hostile territory. However, the mystery remains as to how heavy the P-40 aircraft could have taken off without any sort of landing gear. Japanese records confirm that an American P-40 flew over Formosa on December 8th, 1942, but where it came, where it was headed, and how it even got airborne still remains a mystery. At a number 6 spot with the Maria Labo. Maria Labo was a woman from the province of Capiz in the Philippines who had a happy family consisting of a loving husband and 1 son. However, she decided to work abroad in England for the sake of her family's financial stability. Maria was lucky enough to have a good employer who treated her well, but she didn't know that her employer was a vampire, supposedly. It was said that Maria was a combination of a maid and a caregiver to this vampire employer, who would always provide her with half-cooked liver to eat. After a few months of working for him, Maria started to feel sick. Little did she know that she has ingested some of her employer's blood, which caused her this unknown illness. Eventually, Maria decided to return home to the Philippines to live with her family. Upon returning home, Maria's husband, who was a police officer, was very surprised to see her. She had already prepared dinner, but when her husband asked where their son was, Maria just replied, "Our son is right there." Her husband was confused, and it wasn't until he opened the refrigerator that he realized the horrific truth. The meat he had eaten that day was their own son. In a fit of rage, Maria's husband picked up a large knife and slashed her face, leaving a large scar, which is why she was called Maria Labo. Labo means scar in Filipino. From that day on, Maria went on a murderous rampage and stalked or hunted in many different locations within the Philippines. However, her husband continued to hunt for Maria because he just wanted to kill her and end all of this. It is also said that whenever Maria was known to be in any place within the Philippines, people would try to find and kill her in order to save her own children. So there would be this large hunt out for her, and it would just be crazy. In the hub of our list, we have the Hello Kitty murders. Our story begins in May 1999 when a 13-year-old girl approached the Hong Kong police, claiming that a woman whom her boyfriend had helped to kill was haunting her. The police was initially skeptical, but when the girl described how a 23-year-old woman was brutally tortured and bound with electrical wire in a third-floor flat on Granville Road 31, they knew they had to investigate. As they searched the apartment, they uncovered some truly horrifying evidence: a large Hello Kitty doll that had been stuffed with a woman's head. The victim of this ghastly crime was Fan Man Yi, a 23-year-old nightclub hostess who has been abducted for over a year, allegedly for failing to repay a $20,000 debt. According to the various media reports, Fan was held captive for over a month, during which time she was subjected to brutal torture on a daily basis until she eventually succumbed to her injuries. The men responsible for her death then chopped up the body into tiny pieces and disposed of it with the garbage. Some versions of the story claim that they even skinned her and boiled her. Although this is difficult to confirm, what is even more terrifying is that her severed head was sewn inside of a Hello Kitty doll, which became the bizarre story for this tragic accident, the Hello Kitty murder. When the news of this gruesome murder hit the press, it horrified residents of Hong Kong and sparked a media frenzy that lasted for months. As if the story couldn't get any more chilling, there was even reports of a shadowy female figure lurking near the apartment building where this happened, and it was captured on various CCTV cameras from nearby buildings. At our number 4 spot, we have the Tugu complex. In the city of Malang are 3 schools who are in deep connection with the horrors committed in World War II. Back in the 1940s, these 3 schools were used as concentration camps by the opposing Japanese soldiers. The Japanese created an underground system of crawl spaces and secret rooms that connected each school along with the local train station and governor's office. This would ensure accessibility everywhere. Legend says that 2 teenagers attempted to explore these tunnels and secret passageways, but after a short time, one student came out screaming while the other one was found weeks later in the train station in a trance-like state and unable to speak about the horrors he saw. Many believe it was the ghost of those who lost their lives there in World War II. Another occurrence is the bloodstains on the floor tiles in each of these buildings. And the odd thing is that workers say that removing these stains are nearly impossible, and some would even fall ill after completing the cleanup job, which is why they have stopped doing it completely. At a number 3 spot, we have the Orang Minyak. The Orang Minyak, or the Oily Man, is a creature that takes the shape of a man that is covered in a thick, murky black oil. It comes at the darkest time of night when it's almost impossible to see. It snatches young women in rural villages when they're sleeping, and this is why many people fear oil spills in the country, oddly enough. It can shapeshift into oil to slip through cracks in the walls and the floors, so there's basically no place to hide from the Orang Minyak. In Malaysia's past, young women were told to wear clothing that was worn by a man so that this creature couldn't catch their scent. Keeping a mirror nearby, it was also a must because this creature doesn't like to see their own reflection. This became such a big urban legend that some girls would cover their rooms in all mirrors, but in my opinion, that is just as creepy as this creature. Number 2, the Karak Highway. This Malaysian highway is said to be the world's most haunted highway. It is a 70-kilometer long interstate highway that connects Kuala Lumpur to the Genting Highlands. The amount of paranormal reports from this highway alone is enough to make someone take a way longer detour instead. The first of these incidents happened when a couple and their baby were returning one night from vacation. The car then suddenly broke down on the side of the road, and as he looked for someone to help, he notices the highway was completely empty. So he walks up to the closest nearby phone booth to call for help, but the man never ended up returning. After a few hours of waiting, his wife calls the police, but when they arrive, they tell her to not step out of the vehicle and to not look behind them. After walking a distance away, she turns around to see her husband's headless body being devoured by a banshee-like creature on top of their car. Also on Karak Highway, if you find yourself stuck behind a yellow Volkswagen Beetle, just get away from it. This vehicle is known to stalk drivers and even cause them to get into fatal accidents. So be extra careful if you guys decide to drive near this area in Malaysia. At a number 1 spot, we have the Mongolian death worm. The Gobi Desert, located between Mongolia and China, is said to have a Mongolian death worm, otherwise known as an intestine worm, due to its appearance of being fleshy and red in color. This 2 to 7 foot long creature has the ability to spit out venomous liquid out of its mouth, and if you ever get close enough to touch the creature, it is believed that the entire body is covered in a sticky, poisonous substance that will kill you on touch. And if that wasn't enough, it can even electrify you the same way an eel can. While movies on the creature depict it as being this large, colossal being, it's actually believed to be a lot smaller at around 7 feet. Regardless, the fact that this creature can hide anywhere in the desert sands and come out with basically no weaknesses makes it one of the most dangerous and scariest ones on this list.